Behind me now is the Diamond Battlefield, and this is a very overlooked but very crucial part of the early Black Hawk War, and it featured the outlaw Ike Potter. Basically, the story goes that by mid-1866, early on in this war, the only people that were really fighting were a couple of wild-headed youth who went along with Chief Black Hawk. Most of the reservation youths rallied under Chief Tabby, who kind of kept them in order and said, you know, the Mormons aren't our enemies. Well, around this time, the Mormon leadership said that we're going to gather up 350 Nauvoo Legion and use them to patrol the trails. Well, the trails they were patrolling were going to be on the reservation, so Chief Tabby got really upset. And we don't really know if Chief Tabby was behind this battle, but anyway, several men assemble and lead their war parties. These include Ike Potter, Ike's friend Richard, and Mountain, who is the brother of Chief Black Hawk, naturally leading a band of warriors. They descend into the Utah Valley and begin killing. They run off cattle, they cause a lot of havoc, and then they come back up here as they encounter a larger force of the Nauvoo Legion. They pin the Nauvoo Legion down for a while, but after a full day battle, somebody arrives, officer named Snow, and kind of runs them off up Spanish Fork. And would you look at that, these cows drove me off. But you know, I suppose it's their property. And after that initial skirmish ended, basically all of the Utes scattered, except they went underneath different bands. And the ones who followed Chief Mountain, who was the brother of Chief Black Hawk, they went up Spanish Fork in an effort to find somebody who was basically in a blood feud with their chief. A couple years prior, this man had accused Black Hawk of stealing something on his farm and had beaten him with a bucket. Now, of course, that bodes very poorly for the man once Black Hawk declares war on the settlers, and his brother comes down, and with his band of braves, they kill him and scatter his cattle and his horses. Well, the Nauvoo Legion is already on high alert, and when they see all these horses running, they go and find the murder scene, and they chase the troops basically up, the braves up this canyon. And again, because it is a camp of warriors, they are pinned down, and 8 Nauvoo Legion men come charging up into the Utes. Even though they're pinned down and arrows are raining down on them, they charge up into the Ute camp, and 3 of them are immediately killed in a hail of gunfire and arrows. And after this, they kind of sit around and they wait for a while, and under covering fire, basically the Utes silently slip away up the canyons and into the forest, and Chief Tabby, whether or not he was involved with this fight, he realized that it would not be a war they could win. And a couple of people stayed under Chief Black Hawk, and they viewed their losses as something that would incite them to more revolts, but Tabby was kind of a practical guy, and eventually, over the reservation Utes, they called them, he warned Brigham Young, I can't control these guys anymore, because you keep killing them. After this point in time, there was a building of forts that happened all over Utah, and Brigham Young decided to tell his flock, you better group all your cows together, bring them up to Salt Lake under military guard, and you gotta go into the forts if you ever detect any trouble. And an interesting note in all of this is that after the battle, the man who was leading the Nauvoo Legion and many other people involved all signed affidavits saying white men were leading the Indians. Whereas they said earlier that the battle down the canyon, that was led by Chief Tabby, they said this one was led by white men. Now I think this is because at this battle you had Isaac Potter, who was kind of in a blood feud with Aaron Johnson, a local Mormon bishop. He decided to befriend the Indians, and he worked up a very good relationship with them. But of course, the Mormons at the time, they feared federal government encroachment, and they believed, as pointed out by their affidavits, that maybe Indian officials were trying to incite the Indians to kill the Mormons. Of course, maybe a little bit of projection from a couple years earlier at the Battle of Mountain Meadows, or the massacre at Mountain Meadows.